Hear the drums. Don't let the beauty fool you. Largest urban slave uprising the world has ever seen happened here. Here, survival became art. Art became shelter. Shelter became pride. Pride became culture. And culture became power. Hear the drums. The important thing is to recognize that Artivism, where the intersection of arts, culture and activism, has been with us as long as people stood up to fight for justice, right? It's not a new thing.
Artivism is the intersection of art and social justice. And it is when artists who are rooted in their community use their creative powers to transform their communities and to transform the world. We need artivists now more than ever because we need to transform worldview. We need to move away from worldviews of domination, and artivists have a superpower in that they can help us imagine a future even when it's not yet here.
When you convene close to 1,000 people from almost 100 countries in a space, it's a very sacred thing. It takes a hell of a lot of work to bring people together. You have to be intentional about saying, what do we leave behind, right? The first convening happened in South Africa. It was the inaugural Global Artivism convening, we called it. We're surprised that we were able to get 89 countries, 750 people. And then when we organized the second one, and we got 645 applications from 98 countries. So you get a sense that obviously this is offering an outlet and a space for people to convene, learn from each other, strategize together, push the field forward in a way of saying, how can we do Artivism better?
The systems of the past that have been here for over 500 years are clearly not working. The stories that tell us that certain human beings are more valuable and worthy than other human beings, and the story that tells us that we are not a part of nature, that we can violate nature, those stories are leading to the devastation of the planet.
O artivismo tem impacto, o artivismo não é neutro, o artivismo não é leve, o artivismo não é comercial, o artivismo ele tem um propósito de ser e às vezes ele também te dá um impacto, mas o impacto da arte dói ou assusta menos do que o impacto de outras áreas, e eu acho que ter essa ferramenta, esse instrumento para ajudar a gente a mobilizar lutas é essencial.
Eu acho que a arte, não só a pintura, mas pode ser a música, o cinema, dança, qualquer linguagem, ela consegue aproximar as pessoas a sentirem a arte, sentirem essa crise ambiental que a gente vive. Então aí que eu acho que entra o artivismo, assim como outras ferramentas, ciências, coisas que a gente precisa. A gente vai precisar de todo mundo, de todas as ferramentas para a gente encarar esse que é um grande desafio.
É um grande combustível de reflexão, é um grande combustível de coragem, e eu acho que o nosso ativismo, a nossa luta, os nossos enfrentamentos dependem e demandam essa produção artivista, essa arte que conta algo, essa arte que provoca status quo, essa arte que desafia os padrões estabelecidos, mas mais do que isso, essa arte que reconstrói dignidade, pertencimento, autoestima, vontade, lugar, e isso é fundamental para as lutas cotidianas.
Salvador é a cidade assim ideal para um projeto como esse, né? Porque aqui naturalmente existe o artivismo. Se hoje em Salvador a gente consegue ver essa efervescência, tem muito a ver com esses cruzamentos de claves, de informações e de cultura que se deu aqui, e tudo isso sendo tratado como uma potência de resistência, uma potência de querer contar a história de verdade, né? Ainda temos muito que aprender, mas aqui é uma cidade onde o povo negro mostrou a sua força e fez a sua revolução com tambor sem armas à mão.
Resistance must be an irresistible song. The chorus we sing to the drums of the world, to be heard, to change, to fight, to live. Artivism is the way to resist, to transform. Salvador showed us how. Now we show the world.
Hello everyone, it is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for joining. I'm going to do a little bit of logistical information before we jump in. I just wanted to say a very big thank you for joining. My name is Madeline McGirt-Rutherford. I'm the director of ITAC. I have some lovely co-hosts who are collaborating on this session with us, who we will introduce in a moment. But before we get into that, I just want to do a quick reminder. The call is being recorded. It will be archived and put online later for anyone who missed the event and wasn't able to join. Equally, if you want to follow along, Wordly is live and live transcribing everything being said. So if you prefer to listen or watch along in a different language, that option is available too. And hopefully you all got that information in advance about how to do that. So we're here together for 1 hour. This is the first official meeting between the ITAC community and the global Artivism community. We are going to share what both of those amazing international networks are. We are both global movements rooted in the transformational power of the arts. And of course, we share some fabulous artists in common. We share visions for the future, and we also bring distinct perspectives that are really rich and important. And I also think it's always crucial certainly whenever I'm talking about ITAC or on behalf of ITAC, just to mention I'm one perspective in a very, very big, broad international movement, and that I'll share my perception of ITAC and what we do and what we bring. But I'll also ask for your grace in knowing that's one perspective and one voice speaking on behalf of a much wider topic and situation. So with that being said, we have tons to cover. You'll hear from both networks. We'll have time to talk together in breakout rooms, and we'll have a couple of invitations about how you can stay connected to ITAC, to global Artivism, and to hopefully build much longer than just 1 hour partnerships that will last into the future. So to help us jump right in, it's my pleasure to hand over to Kumi Naidu, who's co-founder of the Ricky Rick Foundation for the Promotion of Artivism and president of the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty Initiative. Kumi, over to you.
And dear friends, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a genuine pleasure to be here with both of our communities today. This is a first meeting, and as we know from all good movement work, the first meeting is not where the work ends, it is where trust begins. So today our hope is simple, to open up a conversation between global Artivism, ITAC, and all of you, and to invite you into a growing movement of artists, teaching artists, cultural workers, activists, educators, and communities who believe that culture is not decoration, that culture is power. As we say in Africa, when the roots are deep, there's no reason to fear the wind. Our task now is deepen the roots of justice by harnessing the full power of arts and culture. Global Artivism was born both from pain and possibility. We came together through the Rikirik Foundation for the Promotion of Artivism, and later we were joined by the Global Commons Alliance and the Community Arts Network because we could see that the world is at an inflection point. Climate, democracy, inequality, violence, loneliness, mental health, these crises are not separate. They are talking to each other. Sadly, our movements do not always talk to each other with the same urgency. For many years, some of us in the activism world believed that if we simply had better facts, better reports, better policies, people would act. But we aimed too much at the head and too little at the heart, the body, and the soul. Ricky Rick understood something profound, that music, fashion, story, rhythm, beauty, and pain can reach people before a policy paper ever will. His legacy helped affirm that Artivism is not a side project of social change. It is one of the engines of social change. So what do we mean by Artivism? For us, Artivism is where imagination meets courage. It is a meeting place between art and activism. It is where the drumbeat, the mural, the poem, the classroom, the theater, the dance, the community garden, the song, and the street become tools of dignity. Artivism speaks truth to power, yes, but it also helps people believe that change is possible. And this matters because many people today are just simply exhausted. They are not waiting for another acronym, another report, another expert panel. Sometimes, my friends, we in civil society use so many acronyms that we are drowning in an alphabet soup. People are hungry for meaning, connection, and hope they can touch. That is where teaching artists and cultural practitioners are so fundamentally essential. Global Artivism is a global South-led movement connecting artists, cultural organizers, movement builders, and communities using arts and culture to accelerate social and ecological transformation. Our purpose is to elevate, connect, protect, and energize artists across the world, recognizing that the artistic and creative community are not waiting for anybody to come and activate them. They are already engaged based on their own reading of the world. Our task is to how do we support them, to elevate them, give them greater voice, and so on. And this is why being with ITAC today feels so natural. Teaching artists are already doing this work every single day. You're not only teaching technique, you're opening imagination. You're helping young people and communities process grief, anger, identity, injustice, and possibility. In many ways, you are doing the quite deep work that movements depend upon. In 2024, we convened this in South Africa, the first inaugural Global Artivism Conference with 845 artivists and participants in person, with around 2,000 joining online from across the globe. We had close to 89 countries participate. Then in 2025, we gathered in Salvador Bahia, Brazil in November, just before the COP, where more than 1,000 participants came together with around 86 countries represented. This matters deeply because we are committed not just to talking about global justice, but to practicing it in how we gather, how we share resources, and who gets to lead. And now, as we look to 2026 and 2027, the question becomes, how do we move from convening to movement building? How do we deepen regional leadership? How to make this less of an event and more of a living, breathing movement? This is the journey we are on, from South Africa to Brazil to regional organizing across the world, and then towards a global cultural movement that is strong enough, joyful enough, and courageous enough to meet this moment. Having gathered globally in the last 2 years, we are now entering a new phase. Deeper regional movement building across 6 regions, because power must not sit in the center, power must be distributed, leadership must be cultivated close to the ground. In 2026, we are planning regional convenings as follows. In the Americas and the Caribbean from the 4th to the 6th of August, West Asia from the 18th to the 20th of August, Africa from the 1st to the 3rd of September, Europe to be confirmed, probably around either 15th or 17th of September or 22nd or the 24th of September, and the Pacific and Oceania, 29th September to the 1st October 2026. And Asia will close that out with their convening on the 6th to the 8th of October. These regional convenings will help build toward a global virtual convening, provisionally planned for either 2nd to the 6th of November or 3rd to the 7th of November 2026, and will be building up towards the month of November being declared Global Artivism Month, with a view of taking the movement hopefully to as many countries as possible. And then looking towards 2027, the ambition is to consolidate what emerges, the relationships, campaigns, cultural tools, teaching practices, and shared strategies, so that global artivism is not simply a series of beautiful gatherings, but a durable ecosystem of solidarity. Because the world does not only need more events, it needs more courage, more imagination, and if you want, more organized love. We are here with ITAC today as we believe that teaching artists and cultural practitioners hold a power the world urgently needs. You know how to work with complexity. You know how to create safety in difficult conversations. You know that a child drawing their pain, a community singing its grief, or a group of young people performing the truth can sometimes move people more deeply than 1,000 speeches, including this one, I must confess. Let us explore how ITAC and global artivism can connect our communities, cross-promote opportunities, share resources, and bring teaching artists into the regional convenings, Global Artivism Month, and the wider movement. I would like to end by saying that the struggle for justice is a marathon and not a sprint. It requires longevity, perseverance, stamina, and we are very, very keen to march this marathon together with our friends at ITAC. And with that, let me hand you back to Madeleine to tell us more about the extraordinary work that ITAC does on a day-to-day basis. Over to you, Madeleine, and thank you very much, everyone.
That was gorgeous. I'm all in favor of more organized love in the world, and it's a real pleasure to be here bringing the communities together. I am going to offer a very, very brief snapshot of ITAC and the perspective we enter the space with. And then we will have time to chat together and to think more about how we stay connected. So this will be a very brief overview, and I invite you to engage with us in a longer term to hear all the roots and the history behind it, because it's really rich. ITAC is the International Teaching Artists Collaborative. We are the international network for people who use arts for social change. We were founded in 2012 with our conferences, which happened in a different part of the world each year, founded by Eric Booth from the US and Mara Ulvund from Norway. And every 2 years, the conference would happen somewhere else in the world. And in 2018, we became a year-round organization. My own roots are theatre and film. I trained as an actor and a filmmaker. And I began working in communities in complex settings with recently arrived young people who were in schools without translators yet, having come through traumatic circumstances, or prisons, or youth theatres. And really what became very, very clear to me when we were using the arts and we were working through the arts together was that actually, although we were doing drama, that wasn't the real thing that was happening. Really, there was transformational skills growing and forming, trajectories were shifting, mindsets were shifting. And it became very clear that the artistic process, not the creation of an end result, but the process was a conduit to something much larger, and something that systems en masse really, really needed to adopt. And anything that talks about systems, talks about trust, talks about community, really needs the space to build trust and community. And the way that that happens I've not seen a more effective use than or method than the artistic process itself. So ITAC is the international network of people who do that professionally, and they have lots of different titles and lots of different languages and contexts. Teaching artists tends to be the North American and Norwegian term because that's where our founders come from. In the UK, we call it participatory arts, community arts, but really what we're talking about is the use of that artistic process to create something else. ITAC has grown over the years to have thousands of members across 40 plus countries. We have more than 5 national hubs. We have year-round projects and we have conferences every 2 years. This is our general structure. Mostly our network is made up of grassroots practitioners, and we focus heavily on network development, capacity building, and advocacy. And we also have some focus areas, which include health, climate, conflict transformation, and active citizenship. In terms of our network development, we have our conferences. So in 2 months, a few hundred of us will gather together in Belgium, in Antwerp. Our last conference was 2024 in New Zealand. We have monthly think tanks, kind of like this. We get together and someone from the community in a different part of the world hosts to share their practice. And we have a members space too, where you can access each other, see who's around, access resources. In terms of capacity building, we have hundreds and hundreds of free resources, depending on your interest, your artistic practice, and they're all created by members from our network. So people have put together curricula on how do you teach environmental awareness through music? How do you deal with non-verbal teaching artistry? How do you have anti-racist practice embedded in your teaching artistry? So our community's made resources for all of these things, which are free and available. And we also do a lot of advocacy. So looking at where are the systems, where are the institutions that have transformational goals, but are not necessarily trained in transformational engagement. And how do we build the bridges between the thousands of artists we have who are trained in that kind of work and the spaces that really need their expertise. And so it's totally free to join. We never charge teaching artists for being part of the network. If you want to sign up, please do. We have the links here and the QR codes. You will also get these in the chat, so don't panic if you're not fast with your phone or if by the time Wordly translates what's happened, the screen has changed. But to share a little bit more about ITAC, about Artivism, and about the connection between the two missions and visions of the organizations, it's my great pleasure to hand over to a colleague who's deeply embedded in both networks. Inés Sanguinetti has been on the board of ITAC since I think before I joined, is the co-founder of ITAC's LATAM hub, focusing on arts and health, and is the chair of the Programming and Communications Committee of Global Artivism. Inés is someone who, I'll let Inés speak for yourself, but is someone who really brings a ton of energy and vision to both movements, to helping us shape and steer how we want to remain true to our roots, but also aim towards the future and towards real systemic impact. So I will pass over now to Inés to share a little bit about what the movements have in common and where there might be space for arts to make real transformational change.
Well, thank you. Is it that it's real that I can speak in Spanish and there's a translation for everyone? That's real? Good. I do the shift and you do like this if it's clear. Voy a ser muy breve. Good? Voy a ser muy breve. Yo estoy en ambos mundos. ITAC es un mundo más de las agencias culturales que trabajan en un layer que no es directamente el campo, sino las estructuras que gestionan la cultura en una capa más arriba. Artivism es propiamente el activismo artístico y cultural en el territorio. Y yo soy una mezcla de las dos cosas. Así que, como vamos a conversar ahora, quiero poner un punto que pueda debatirse, que es el siguiente. Vengo a hablar no del arte como estrategia, vengo a hablar del arte como estrategia, no del arte como inspiración, no del arte como celebración de identidad. Creo que en este momento, si ITAC y Artivism pueden hacer posible dejar de hablar entre nosotros como una celebración de identidad, la potencia del arte llegará al terreno de la acción. Llevamos décadas predicando entre conversos. Lo que estamos en esta sala, ya sabemos que el arte transforma, que la cultura es un factor de protección, que las prácticas artísticas comunitarias hacen lo que ninguna política pública hace sola. Ya lo dijo Kumi recién, estamos antes en la acción transformadora y nosotros no necesitamos convencernos más entre nosotros, no hacer ni un encuentro mundial más para convencernos entre nosotros. El problema no es visibilidad, el problema es legitimación de nuestra acción. Y hay una diferencia enorme entre las dos cosas. Visibilidad es algo que tenemos o no tenemos, pero es una manera de que nos inviten a la mesa. Legitimación es que lo que producimos tenga peso epistémico, que lo que producimos sea una nueva manera de vivir en el mundo, que cuente como conocimiento, como evidencia, como dato válido para tomar decisiones de política pública, de inversión, de investigación. Mientras sigamos nosotros pidiendo permiso en el lenguaje del sistema que queremos transformar, colonizando nuestro propio trabajo con la lógica financiera de medir el retorno de una intervención cultural en términos económicos cuantificables, vamos a seguir siendo la nota de color de una agenda de otros. Recién Kumi dijo algo maravilloso. Joyful enough to meet the urgency. Dijo organización del amor. Entonces, mientras que sigamos pidiendo permiso en el lenguaje del otro, no vamos a prosperar. Pero desde ITAC y desde Global Artivism estamos apostando a algo diferente. No a demostrar que el arte sirve, sino a construir marcos propios desde donde nuestra práctica se evalúa, se documenta y se proyecta. Nosotros, desde la organización desde la que trabajo, Crear Vale la Pena, ya hemos hecho todas las alianzas posibles con gobiernos, con academia, para probar el punto de que esto importa. Pero esto no alcanza, requiere acción colectiva mundial. Esa fuerza no la puede tener una organización, por más que haga pactos muy interesantes y tengan una financiación interesante. Esto implica una arquitectura de campo en nuestras redes y Global Artivism y ITAC está en condiciones de hacer ese cambio. No más eventos, no encuentros que inspiran y se evaporan. Tenemos que ir hacia los ciclos de acción sin frontera. Tenemos que poner en escena algo que pueda convertirse en prototipo accionable en todo el mundo. Es una verdad entonces que va a tener una casa, un lugar donde prosperar. El mundo no va a legitimar nuestras prácticas porque se las mostremos, nada más. Las va a legitimar cuando nosotros dejemos de pedir permiso para existir y entonces existamos en el amor, existamos en la ternura, existamos en la imaginación, porque todo eso realmente va a desactivar la violencia. No confrontemos, como dijo Kumi, que me encanta esta frase, se las dejo, la revolución necesita ser tierna porque necesita ser fuerte. Es decir, tenemos que poder activar para otros las herramientas del arte, seducir, sorprender, entretener, convencer y verdaderamente entonces transformar. Así que dejo esta preocupación para la conversación que tenemos todos juntos ahora.
Thank you so much, Ines. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. And our numbers have grown since we started, so that's great. To round off the session, perhaps we should say that none of us are suggesting that harnessing the full power of arts and culture on its own will deliver our salvation from the climate crisis and the intersecting crises. But what is clear today, failing to embrace the power of arts and culture in its entirety almost guarantees that we fail. So now we are going to break up into groups, and we want you to reflect on what first drew you to art or culture as a tool for change and what keeps you in this work. And if you have time, where do you see the most untapped potential for artists and cultural practitioners in the movement you're a part of? But having said that, if you want to use your time just to get to know each other, meet each other, we only have 10 minutes. Maybe you want to sing a song for each other, go for it and enjoy your 10-minute breakout session. And I'll ask Alicia to send us into our rooms. Over to you, Alicia.
Group was so rich.
Same with mine.
Incredible.
Yeah, we had people from every continent and it was fantastic.
Oh, God.
So are we all back now? Okay, 10 minutes is so meager. Someone says, I agree, you never get round all the good stuff. Feel free to drop in the chat what you learned, what was your reflection, how was it coming together? Loved all the points being shared. So grateful for this time, so much more to be said.
I posted a question that what is it that Artivism and ITAC should be doing together for the good of the grassroots organizations? And the answers were fantastic.
It was wonderful to see and hear some new people passionate in what they do. We got straight into how we can tackle the big issues in Alliance. Our group had so much more to say, we needed more time. Beautiful to meet colleagues from all around the world. Global Artivism and ITAC having a clear sense of core shared values and change where and speaking to whom, influencing which spaces. Okay, keep the reflections coming. It's really rich. And I agree, we need more time and we need more of these spaces. And I hope that we can start to accommodate that fairly soon. I'm going to invite Alicia to join us too, so that we can share a little bit about the plans that are forming, very beginning plans. We hope for much more together, and how we are inviting you to connect more deeply with both Artivism and ITAC in partnership and in a longer term way. Alicia, would you like to share?
Thank you, Madeline, and thanks everybody. I was able to join one group for a little bit, but it was so inspiring to hear from everyone and such different but connected work. So glad you're all here. And as Ines posed that question, that's such an important question of what can us as organizations in the space be doing together to really work with grassroots artivists and bring people together. So one way we've decided to come together is by hosting and co-hosting a course. So ITAC has an amazing course for teaching artists and social impact. And we'd love to organize this together with you bringing in the Artivism community, the ITAC community and networks, and of course, all of you who've joined, from all your different work, to be able to come together as cohorts. So we're trying to do 2 cohorts during the month of November, which is also, we're planning it out as Global Artivism Month, which is going to be a month-long campaign, festival, coordinated efforts and action around the world. And this is one of the many programs that we're trying to organize. So we we will send you out also a link to register your interest if you're, you'd like to take the course or you'd like to recommend folks to take it. It'll be completely free. And while you can, of course, take it, asynchronously, we're trying to probably have at least a couple of meetups so people can do the course as a cohort and can also learn from each other, because just, being part of these breakouts itself, there's so much that we can just learn from each other's shared practice. So that's something that we're thinking of doing together, along with, of course, all of the virtual convenings, ITACs convening, and different events through the year. So we hope that this is only a starting point and a start in our conversation, and we hope to continue to see you becoming engaged and active and leading so many parts of this movement. Madeline, anything further to add on the course?
Thank you. I think you said it perfectly. It's just a wide open invitation to join us, to have a bit of a learning journey together. The course is rooted in the experiences and learnings of some of our commissioned climate artists. So it's a global cohort who undertook commissioned climate projects as part of ITAC Impact Climate. And we have built some tools, empathy mapping, logic models, assumption mapping, which really underpin thoughtful practice in communities, contextualizing work for an appropriateness for how to lead work and how to be grounded in communities that are authentic to you. It's a really fabulous journey. We've had multiple cohorts take it together. It's designed for people with an artistic practice. And so if you have an artistic practice and the social outcome part of your work is what you're looking to develop, it really is a great tool. So I look forward to seeing lots of you on the course with us in November. So there are already questions coming in the chat about how do we register. So this leads us perfectly to some questions, answers, reflections. But ultimately, you'll be getting an email. Everyone will get an email, and they will give you the next steps for how to sign up to the course, how to be part of the global convenings for Artivism, how to participate in November in the Artivism month. And those are really the proposals we have right now for how to remain engaged with both communities and how to bring those areas of overlap really into alignment, so that there is, as Inez says, we're not replicating, we're not speaking to the people already converted, we're lining up and getting aligned on how do we move things forward together. And as Kumi said, how do we turn from events into a real movement? So these are our proposed tiny little first steps that will help us think together about the bigger next steps. And I would love to, at this point, invite any questions or comments or reflections you feel are sitting with you that you want to share. And Alicia, if you want to help me answer them, please do. I can see already, can we include activities for that month? How does that work? How would that happen? Kumi?
Thank you so much, Mercedes, for that question. So basically, we're wanting people to own the month, not see it being owned by some people far away. So even though we have a range of activities, so in fact, even the course that we will do, we're doing it within Global Artivism Month. It'll be designated as a contribution to promoting the idea in as many places. So what we hope, Mercedes and others, is that people will, any activity you were planning to organize anyway and you haven't yet fixed it, please fix it for November, so we have a crescendo of activities around the world. And we'll be sending out a more detailed proposal on the strategy on Global Artivism Month, where ITAC and many other networks and Global Artivism will work together on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I see more enthusiasm for getting involved in November. I see some reflections. Shrinking civic space in Uganda needs Artivism more than ever before to push back against those behind narrowing space for human rights in general. Thank you. It would be powerful if we had an art prompt in singular place to see each other's work from that prompt. I'm looking forward to attending the course. I just established a new association in the south of Spain called Espacio Manzana, ready to support and to learn along the way. Thank you. We'd be happy to host an online event for Caribbean artivists. Wonderful. This is great. Thank you. Keep them coming. And if there are any other questions, any other things while you have us all here, while we're in one space together, what feels front of mind and the thing that before we end you want to voice? Mental health and artivism. Inez, I have a feeling you can speak to that one a little. Oh.
Sí, I can go in Spanish again. Sí, es el tema fundamental de arte y llamado salud mental es dejar de hablar de salud mental como trastorno mental. El trastorno central radica en los determinantes sociales del malestar. Estamos en un mundo en donde las grandes potencias que viven en el Global North, no las potencias pobres, las ricas, tienen como Japón y UK ministerios de la soledad. Y en Emiratos Árabes hay un ministerio de la felicidad. Entonces, lo que tenemos que entender es que el bienestar tiene que ver con volver a la posibilidad del sentido comunitario de la construcción de ese bienestar. La última investigación que trabajó Crear vale la pena como un gran psiquiatra de la Organización Mundial de la Salud, que nos dijo, los fármacos en el mundo mejoraron, los tratamientos psiquiátricos mejoraron, pero las personas se suicidan cada vez más. Y su recomendación es atender a lo que no vemos, que es esa base comunitaria de amor organizado de la que habló Kumi. Así que la recomendación es, sí, la extrema derecha y el fascismo en el mundo están unidos en campañas de emoción y de activación del odio. El odio es una emoción. ¿Cómo no puede estar Artivism y ITAC en una campaña del amor, de la ternura y de aprender a mirarnos en los ojos de los otros? Así que esa es nuestra tarea y nos puede ir maravillosamente bien, porque ya sabemos que funciona.
Thank you. I think the sense of building community and the sense of interconnectedness is so crucial. And I think part of what's so special about bringing Artivism and ITAC together is communities within communities. It's how do you build spaces and circles of practice where the ripples become so massive that they turn into movements. And I think that's really the special power that we have as international networks, is all of that's open to us. It becomes whatever we build. And so our invitations to these small next steps are really invitations to think with us about how we build. None of us have big centralized structures and tons of funding and staff and all of that. And really what we're doing is building grassroots movements. And so if we can find ways, as Inez says, to have emotionally charged, and as Kumi said, tender communities of practice, so much can change. So this is really our invitation to do that with us. We are coming to the end of our time, which is so fast. It has been so fleeting, and I hope this will be the first of many. But I just want to invite us into closing thoughts and into next steps about what this means. So we've begun to meet. We've heard invitations to join us on a course. We've had invitations to join in Artivism Month, to join regional convenings. If there are spaces where you think, oh, I would love to see an invitation in this space and we haven't seen that yet, or this kind of thing and we haven't seen that yet, please step forward and voice it. I think there is nothing but possibility and opportunity, and it's just a case of finding the right connection and the right route ahead. So I wonder, Alicia, Kumi, Inez, if you have final thoughts, closing sentiments you'd like to share before we close.
Thank you so much, Madeleine. So I am so moved, to be honest, by the comments in the chat. So Madeleine will send out the invitation to everybody who attended this course, the invitation to this event, invitation to the course. Feel free to share that in your networks and encourage as many people to join. However, I think there will be a limitation on numbers, so I encourage people to sign up fast. Then, with regard to uh, the offers, wonderful Jacob in the Pacific, sister in the Caribbean, somebody in West Africa, we need to be in touch with you immediately. So, to get you to be part of the team that organizes the virtual regional convenings. So, Alicia, I'm going to just throw it to you to just ask how do we do that the best way? Over to you, Alicia.
Thanks, Kumi. I've just dropped a link in the chat. If anybody would like to reach out to us, please fill in that section of with your questions, with your, partnership inquiries. And also Madeline has dropped a couple of links on behalf of ITAC. So please reach out and we'll of course connect the two. So don't worry about that. But yeah, we'd really love to hear from more folks and really glad that you're all here and you could make it. And if go ahead, Ines.
No, quería sumar para entusiasmar que estos virtual gatherings, estos encuentros virtuales, no se van a tratar de expositores, de especialistas hablando, sino de espacios en donde todos los que estemos participando vamos a conocer nuestros mapas de dolor, nuestros mapas de deseo, nuestras capacidades de construir poder. Por eso es muy importante que haya diversidad y mucha participación en esos encuentros virtuales, porque ahí vamos a construir las bases del poder que vamos a poder tener entre ITAC y Artivism.
Thank you. I'm pausing because it looked like Alicia, you were maybe about to say something.
No, I think if we're ready to close out, Madeline, if maybe I could invite everybody to share as they leave the space today to just share in one word what was something that you took away from the space. How are you feeling right now? If you could just put it in the chat, and I don't know if there's anything else from our from the panelists. Amazing, connected, inspiration, community, sparkles, hopeful, feeling not alone, connection, encouraging, organized love, gratitude, energized, wonderful, togetherness. That's amazing. Possibility, manifesting a better world.
So,
Brainstorming.
if I might just jump in to say to everyone, we would love to see you, as many of you participate in the course. And I know some of you have been on the course before, but you might recommend others. And then we would love to have your voice, your experience, your guidance in helping to organize the regional virtual convenings. So maybe, Alicia, you can also just drop your email in the chat so that people can reach out, because there were some specific regions where people offered. And then if you can help us already to start encouraging people to make November their month, to move the power of arts and culture from the fringes right into the center of everything we do, whether we're talking about climate, whether we're talking about gender, whether we're talking about mental health and the thousands of other struggles that we have to fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So with that invitation, with contacts in the chat, with invitations for November, for the course, for the convenings, this is the beginning of many, but I'll just say a very big thank you for this session, for giving your time, for giving your energy, and certainly to Kumi, Inez, Alicia, to everyone who helped us put this together and who gave up their time to come together and think of a bigger future where we're collaborating and impactful. So thank you. And I hope that we see you all at the various convenings, events, spaces that we are yet to create in the future. So with that being said, a very, very big thank you. And I think we'll close here. Thank you all.